What's up everyone, my name's Diz. So, Baldur's Gate 3 came out of early access about a week ago, and I haven't found a ton of time to play it, but I've still put quite a few hours in, mostly spent exploring all of the things you can do with the game's engine, and already I've found quite a few cool and useful tricks. In this video, I'd like to share 5 of those tricks with you that I haven't really seen many other people use or talk about. So if you're interested in getting the extra edge you need to take on Tactician mode, or just want to learn about some of the cool stuff you can do in the game, keep watching. Now there will be some minor visual spoilers in this video, but I'll try to avoid showing too much and only show stuff from the very early game. Also, before we get into it, make sure you like and subscribe and do all that other good stuff so you can support me and show me that you're interested in this kind of thing so I know to make more. The first trick I want to show off involves potions of healing. So potions of healing are super useful tools in Baldur's Gate 3. In combat, your heroes can drink one of them by using their bonus action, allowing them to quickly heal up in a pinch. And outside of combat, they can be an invaluable resource for healing up between fights if you don't have a divine spellcaster on your team, or if you just don't feel like spending your spell slots on healing. But if all you're doing with your potions is drinking them, then you're not getting as much use out of them as you could be. You see, in addition to drinking healing potions, you can also throw them onto the ground. And if you do, then they will heal every character within a certain radius of where they land. Now, there's a few advantages of throwing your healing potions. The first is that it can allow you to heal someone from a distance using a potion. Also, it can allow you to heal multiple characters at once with a single potion if they're all clustered together. In fact, if you arrange 4 playable characters like this in a perfect square formation, then throw a potion on the ground at the spot exactly in between all of them, then it can hit all 4. But the best part about it is that the healing magnitude is not reduced at all compared to just drinking the potion. Normally, a potion of healing heals 2d4 plus 2 points of damage. In this clip, I'm going to throw a potion of healing on the ground to heal both Shadowheart and my character. And if we go back and check the combat log, we can see that the healing output of the potion was still 2d4 plus 2. Now, the drawback to this is that, in combat, throwing a potion costs an action, while drinking it just costs a bonus action, and actions are usually more valuable than bonus actions. But in my opinion, that's a fair exchange for the ability to heal other characters at a distance, and heal multiple characters at once. Also, outside of combat, throwing potions on the ground is just strictly better than drinking them if you have multiple characters hurt and want to heal up between fights, as a single potion can heal multiple characters at once. Where this gets really silly though is in combination with effects that trigger when a character heals someone. For example, look at this ring, the Whispering Promise. When equipped, it makes it so that whenever its wearer heals someone, they will also apply the Bless status effect to the character they healed for 2 rounds, giving them plus 1d4 to all attack rolls and saving throws. So what you can do is get your entire party into that square formation I showed earlier, then have a character equip the ring and crack a potion on the ground in between your characters, and now your entire party has Bless for 2 rounds. If you're setting this up before combat, then in many ways it's better than the Bless spell itself, as while the duration is only 2 rounds, it doesn't require concentration or a spell slot. Alright, so after recording most of the audio for this video, I did some further testing and found that not only does all of this stuff work with healing potions, but it works with pretty much all potions. Every potion I tested was able to be thrown and applied its effect in an AoE when thrown, with the exception of the potion of mind reading. So yeah, you can just cluster your entire party together, crack a potion of speed on the ground in between them, and now your entire party has a casual double movement speed, double actions per turn, plus 2 AC, and advantage on dex saving throws. You can even combine this with the Bless potion trick to have a really huge advantage going into a fight. Now let's move on to the second trick. This one is pretty simple but still quite useful. So every turn in combat in Baldur's Gate 3, a character gets an action, a bonus action, and some movement. On most turns, you're probably going to be able to find some kind of use for your action and movement, but you might not be able to find a use for your bonus action. Well, if you don't know what else to do with your bonus action, try jumping. You see, jumping always consumes a bonus action and 3 meters of movement speed, regardless of how far your character actually jumps. but unless your character has abysmal strength, it's likely your character's maximum jump distance will be greater than 3 meters. This means that if you don't have anything else good to do with your bonus action, it is pretty much always correct to use it to jump, as it can allow you to move farther than 3 meters while spending only 3 meters worth of movement, increasing the total amount of distance you move per turn. As a demonstration, I'm gonna have Lae'zel enter turn-based exploration mode and make a quick save. Now I'm gonna have her move in this direction just by using normal movement. This is as far as she can go in one turn. Now I'm gonna reload that save and have her first jump in that direction, and then use her normal movement the rest of the way. This is as far as she can go with that method. And finally, I'm gonna have her cast her Githyanki Psionics jump ability on herself, which triples her jump distance. Then I'm gonna do the same thing as last time. First, have her jump, and then use her normal movement the rest of the way. And this is how far she can go using that method. As you can see, not only does jumping significantly increase the distance you can move in a turn, but if you use effects that increase your jump distance, you can move really far in just one turn. In addition, jumping does not provoke opportunity attacks when moving over enemies, and it also allows you to avoid difficult terrain and dangerous surfaces, so it's a very powerful tool that you should be using often. Let's move on to our next trick. This is one that I think a lot of people already know and have experimented with, but I still want to put some additional ideas out there. So, there are several objects in this game, such as wooden crates, that your characters can get on top of and stand on, either by right-clicking on them and using the climb on option, or by jumping on top of them. By itself, that wouldn't be very useful, but what's cool about this is you can actually pick these objects up, put them in your inventory, and move them around. This can let you do things like stack a bunch of them on top of each other to create a sort of tower for your characters to stand on. This can allow you to create your own high ground anywhere, giving you additional accuracy and range on your ranged attacks, as well as allowing you to jump longer distances, or allowing you to reach high up spots that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. Also, hilariously, picking up and moving objects around in combat costs 0 resources. Not your action, not your bonus action, no movement, nothing. This means that, within a single combat turn, you can construct a massive structure at a moment's notice. Basically, you can just play Fortnite in Baldur's Gate 3. Now, an important thing to note is that, for whatever reason, it seems like crates do not block line of sight. That means it's not possible to create barricades out of crates that can block enemy attacks. I may do further investigation into this, for example by seeing if it's possible to construct a functional barricade by stacking crates and then reinforcing them with something else that does block line of sight, but that's a subject for another time. There's lots of other cool things you can do as well. For example, if one of your characters gets caught committing a crime in the Druid's Grove and gets sent to the makeshift prison, you can send some crates to that character from another character's inventory, then build a stack of those crates and stand on top of it. Then you can simply jump over the gate to the holding cell to freedom. Now, believe it or not, crates used to be even more broken back in early access. Within the first week of early access, I discovered a method of using crates to clip through walls and up to higher places. The only footage I have of it now is this really old, weirdly cropped clip I posted into some Discord. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like this is possible anymore, but there's still a ton of fun shenanigans to explore with crates. Alright, now let's go over our next trick. So, Baldur's Gate 3 allows you to throw nearly any item using your action. If you throw a weapon with the thrown tag, then it will deal damage equal to your weapon's damage plus your strength or dex modifier, depending on the weapon. But if you throw any other object, then it will count as an improvised weapon and just deal 1d4 bludgeoning damage, and you won't get to add your strength or dex modifier. But did you know that if you throw a heavy item from high enough, it can do additional crushing damage? Now, there's a couple aspects of crushing damage that make it kinda broken. The first is that crushing damage doesn't require an attack roll in order to deal damage. See, while you need to throw an object to deal crushing damage, and throwing an object results in a thrown weapon attack roll, the thrown weapon attack roll and crushing damage are actually completely separate phenomena. The attack roll doesn't need to succeed in order for crushing damage to be dealt, and in fact you don't even need to target the enemy directly with the attack in the first place in order to deal crushing damage. For example, look at this clip. I'm gonna have Lae'zel throw a 20 kg cartilaginous chest at my custom character, but note that I'm not actually aiming directly at my character, but rather at a spot just to the side of them. And when Lae'zel throws the chest, my character takes 7 points of damage from crushing, but doesn't take any other damage and also doesn't appear to dodge an attack, indicating that no thrown weapon attack roll was made against them. Anyway, the second aspect of crushing damage that makes it kinda broken is that its damage is not dependent on a damage roll. It will always deal a flat amount that scales with the weight of the object and the height you threw it from. This means that, as long as you use a heavy enough object and throw it from high enough, you're guaranteed to deal good damage, and under the right conditions, the damage can be scaled up to pretty absurd amounts. These two things together allow you to use crushing damage to deal guaranteed good damage without having to make any dice rolls, completely circumventing the RNG inherent in the D&D system. To show you how strong crushing damage can be, in this clip I've stacked up a bunch of boxes on top of the elevator in the Druid Sanctuary. Now, I'm gonna have Lae'zel throw a 20 kg cartilaginous chest at one of the druids in the area below. As you can see, it dealt a whopping 28 damage. And might I remind you that this damage didn't require an attack roll or a damage roll. Also, I think it's important to emphasize that the only thing limiting how much crushing damage you can deal is the weight of the object and how high you're throwing it from, meaning you can deal this kind of damage even at level 1. I can't really think of any other way of dealing this much damage this consistently at such a low level. Now, one issue with crushing damage is that a lot of the heavier, larger items that you'd naturally want to use to deal crushing damage, such as the cartilaginous chests I've been using, have health bars, meaning they can take damage and be destroyed. And if you're throwing them from high places to deal crushing damage, it's likely that they'll be destroyed in just 1 or 2 tosses from fall damage. So instead, what I recommend using if you're trying to maximize your crushing damage is corpses. It might sound weird, but corpses are legitimately the heaviest single items in the game, and will also never break from fall damage. And yes, you can actually carry corpses around in your inventory. Just right-click on them and select Pick Up. And with that, we've arrived at our final trick. This is probably the simplest one, but also the most broken, so I've decided to save it for last. So in Baldur's Gate 3, if you have a character that's not currently in combat, you can have them enter combat by attacking an enemy. And if that attack would normally consume their action or bonus action, then that character will not have access to their action or bonus action during their first turn in combat, whichever one the attack requires. Basically, this means you can either use your action or bonus action to make an attack before a character enters combat, or on that character's first turn in combat, but not both. This is to ensure that you can't break the action economy too much and get off too many attacks before the enemy has a chance to respond. However, Larian overlooked something. You see, if you have a character go into turn-based exploration mode, and then enter combat directly from turn-based exploration mode, they'll always get their action, bonus action, and all their movement back. And if they use their action or bonus action to initiate with an attack from turn-based mode, they'll still get their action and bonus action back on their first turn, because the effect that gives them their action and bonus action back will actually take precedence over the effect that would make them lose their action or bonus action due to initiating with an attack. So yeah, this is pretty broken. As long as you make sure that all your characters enter combat from turn-based mode, then they can all get off an attack before combat starts and another attack on their first turn, which is not intentional and completely breaks the action economy. And if you surprised the enemy, then none of the enemies will get to act on the first round of combat, which means you'll basically be able to get off 2 entire turns worth of attacks at the start of the fight without the enemy being able to do anything, which is just going to give you a huge advantage. But we can do even better. See, there's an additional useful property of entering combat from turn-based mode, and that is that the duration of status effects will not tick down when a character goes from turn-based mode to combat. What that means is before combat, you can go into turn-based mode and then use your action or bonus action to apply some kind of short duration beneficial status effect to yourself. Then you can enter combat, and on your first turn, you'll have access to your action and bonus action again, but the status effect won't have ticked down. The most notable and accessible application of this involves the dash action. Dash costs you an action to perform and doubles your movement speed on the turn you use it. But the way that the game actually implements this is by applying a 1-round status effect to your character that doubles their movement speed. Status effects always tick down at the end of your turn, so the dash status effect will always go away at the end of your turn, which is supposed to make it so you can't dash and use your action for something else in the same turn. But what you can do is have your character use dash outside of combat, then enter turn-based mode, then enter combat with an attack. On your character's first turn, they'll have access to their action due to entering from turn-based mode, but they'll also still have the dash status effect, because it won't have ticked down. This means that not only does your character get to get off 2 actions worth of attacks at the start of the fight, but they can also take advantage of dash and move twice as far on their first turn, while also using their action for something else on the same turn, which you're really not supposed to be able to do. Oh, and remember, you can have your entire party do this as long as you have them all enter combat from turn-based mode 1 by 1. That means your entire party can get off a free attack and move twice as far on their first turn at basically no opportunity cost, which is just downright broken. Now, it's very likely that all of this is unintentional and some aspect of it will get patched if Larian ever finds out about it, but in the meantime, feel free to abuse it to your heart's content. And that's all I have for you today. Did you learn anything new from this video? If so, leave a comment letting me know. Also, leave a comment if there's any additional tricks you've discovered that you want to share with us. And if you want to share any of these tricks with others, then make sure to direct them to this video. Alright, that's gonna do it for now. I hope you all have fun playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'll see all of you later.